Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh by Simeon. This is Rayabya, Seattle Zealot, and I'm back with another classroom lesson. This one dealing with the paganistic origins of Easter, right? Now, as you see with these images that are up, of Easter or Ishtar, Astarte, Ashtoreth, all right? This abominable idol, all right, that was worshipped over there in Mesopotamia. All right, this is something that the heathens worship when you deal with Slovakia, when you deal with the so-called when you deal with all these heathens in particular, the Hamites, all right, with the people of Mesopotamia, all right, the different Semitic or Shemitic people of Mesopotamia, Hamitic, Shemitic people of Mesopotamia, even our own people going all the way back then, just like how nothing's new under the sun. You have people doing that same thing today. Okay, so I'm going to do a brief history lesson on this, and I'm going to go into the scriptures, even in Acts 12:4, all right, to just give you a good understanding that, not only give you an understanding of the paganistic origins of Easter, but break down the scriptures they use to say, oh, well, Easter's in the Bible, when they don't understand that's a transliterated word, and that was put in by the Council of Nicaea by Constantine. By Constantine during the Council of Nicaea in the third or fourth century, Slovakia. So with that said, Slovakia, I'm gonna go ahead and go right into it. All right, going to the Britannica. Okay, Easter, and it says principal Easter, Latin Pascha, Greek Pascha. Principal festival of the Christian church, which celebrates the resurrection of Jesus Christ on the third day after his crucifixion. And I just want to say this. A lot of them say, oh, he died on a Good Friday or whatever and rose up on Sunday, which makes absolutely no sense of how that can translate into 3 days. They didn't even record days like that. Okay. So with that said, let me continue. The earliest recorded observance of an Eastern celebration comes from the 2nd century, though the commemoration of Jesus' resurrection probably occurred earlier. All right. The English word Easter, which parallels the German word Ostern, is of a certain origin. One view expounded by the Venerable Bede in the 8th century was that it derived from Eostri or Astray, the Anglo-Saxon goddess of spring and fertility. All right. So this is giving you, an understanding that Anglo-Saxons, all right, started this during the 8th century, as as the goddess of spring and fertility. All right. And obviously that was a majority of our people doing that at that time, because that's when black rulerships came into play in the 8th century. Slovakia. Let me keep, actually, with that said, just let me say this: Astrati or Astray sounds very similar to Astarte. All right. So with that said, I did screenshot, all right, inserts out of my compact Zondervan Bible Compact Dictionary, all right, dealing with Astarte, dealing with Ashtoreth, all right. So, let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and just go through it real quick. Ashtoreth, all right. Ashtoreth is plural for Ashtoreth, name of any fertility goddess of the ancient Near East Babylonian. Ishtar, Greek Babylonian Ishtar, Greek Astarte, and Canaan, a consort of El. All right. So let me go to Ishtar, a Semitic goddess worshipped in Phoenicia, Canaan, Assyria, and Babylonia. Her name is spelled in various ways: Ashtoreth, Astarte, Ashtartu, in the Armana letters, Ishtar in Babylonian. All right. So, that's it on that. Let me go ahead and go back over to here, because that's what it goes back to, that same Babylonian pagan deity, false deity, I should say. And that's why you see the eggs, the eggs and this abominable look on it, because it's basically promoting Queen of Heaven worship. All right, and that's what the ancient Mesopotamians worship. And that's why you see a lot of these guys that are so-called black conscious or whatever, they exalt the black woman. All right, not or just exalt the woman, period, Slakia. All right, just in general, but especially, when the man's supposed to be the head. I mean, it exalts that Queen of Heaven ideological worship. All right. You see this, you see all this, right? It has nothing to do with our culture, but you had people of that time, in our time, that were influenced, and they ended up worshiping that deity. Okay. And actually, before I continue in the Britannica, let me go ahead and go to the scriptures, actually, real quick. Slakia. Let's go to... let me go here. Go to Judges real quick. Judges 2 and 14. Actually, 2 and 13. All right. I'm gonna go to verse 11. Judges 2 and 11. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and served Baalim. And they forsook the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Lord to anger. This is during the time of Judges. And they forsook the Lord and served Baal and Ashtoreth. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of the spoilers that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies around about, so that they could not any longer stand before their enemies. Now, cold thing is, the same thing has happened today when you have our people worshiping this Mesopotamian deity by taking part in Easter, forsaking and not knowing the ways of our fathers. So with that said, actually, let me go to Hosea 4 and 6. Hosea 4 and 6, okay? And it reads, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. So guess what? The Lord has allowed us to be overtaken by the enemy. Okay, for our transgressions. All right. So just like that happened back during the time of Judges, and many times in the scriptures, even in the time of Kings, I'm not going to bring that out for time's sake, but I will bring this out. Ecclesiastes, the first chapter. All right. Yeah, Ecclesiastes, first chapter. Let me go down real quick, because it tells you no new thing is under the sun. So for Ecclesiastes, the first chapter, and the verse 9. All right. The thing that have been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old time, which was before us. And guess what? That also entails into the time now. Because you had our people worshiping this deity back then. We're worshiping under a new name, which is Easter. Or our people, the ones that have not woken up and are conscious or aware of the fact that they're Hebrew Israelites, they partake and celebrate in these paganistic cultures and customs and culture, you know, and also too, how do they do that? By taking part in the festivities of these holidays, or these hellacious days, these pagan days, I should say, and doing all that stuff. All right, this is wicked as hell. And this is the reason why our people is destroyed for lack of knowledge. This is the reason why the Lord is jacking our people up in these last days, man. Just like of times before. No new thing under the sun. All right. You got even Israelites that are out here celebrating this, man, secretively, and even going out there and partaking in the festivities of these particular pagan days. Okay. So with that said, let me go ahead and continue on into this. All right. And it says, this view presumes, as does the view associating the origin of Christmas on December the 25th with pagan celebrations of the winter solstice, that Christians appropriated pagan names and holidays for the highest festivals, Slakia. So this is just giving you an understanding that that's where, Christianity has paganistic origins to it. Because that's, of course, Christmas on December 25th is talking about Nimrod's birthday, not Jesus, so-called Jesus Christ's birthday, which is Yahweh Shai's name. All right, that's Yahweh Shai scriptures. So let me go ahead and skip down, actually. I want to get to the point. The date of Easter and its controversies, fixing the date on which the resurrection is in the Britannica, mind you, fixing the date on which the resurrection of Jesus was to be observed and celebrated, triggered a major controversy in early Christianity, in which an Eastern and Western position can be distinguished. The dispute, known as the Basako controversy, was not definitively resolved until the 8th century in Asia Minor. Christians observed the day of the crucifixion on the same day that the Jews celebrated the Passover offering, that is, on the 14th day of the first full moon of spring, 14th Nisan, see Jewish calendar. All right, and that's only based off the calendar that the Jewish people go off of, which they don't go off of the new moon. They don't go off of the lunar cycle. Okay. The resurrection then was observed 2 days later on the 16th Nisan, regardless of the day of the week. In the Western, resurrection of Jesus was celebrated on the first day of the week, Sunday, when Jesus was risen from the dead. Sunday, all right, which is another paganistic day, all right. There ain't no Sundays in the Bible, all right. Not going to get into that, but this is the point, though. Consequently, Easter was always celebrated on the first Sunday after the 14th day of the month of Nisan. Increasingly, the churches opted for the Sunday celebration, and the Quartodecimans, 14-day proponents remained a minority. The Council of Nicaea in 325 decreed that Easter should be observed on the first Sunday following the first moon after the spring equinox, March 21st. Easter, therefore, can fall on any Sunday between March 22nd and April 25th. All right. So that's where the origin comes from. All right. And it says the first full moon. In a full moon in the new, and they don't even go and see, here it is, the Council of Nicaea, which was majority, Israelites, so-called black men. All right. Constantine the Great at the head of it. Right. They're following the full moon. Okay. That's why, this is how anybody teaching that the full moon is a new moon, are doing paganistic rituals. All right. And this is what it is. Anybody that's in Israel doing that. But the point being, they're not even following it the correct way. So, And so we understand that that's the whole reason why that the word Easter is in the King James 1611 Bible for the word Pesach, which it really means Passover, all right, which is the Pesach, right, in the Paleo Hebrew. We understand that the origins comes from here in the Council of Nicaea, all right. I don't need to go into the Eastern Orthodox Church. That's not the point. This is the point right here. So with that said, let's go ahead and go to that, okay. Like I said, I'm just going to want to do a brief history, and I want to do a brief edifying of Acts 12 and 4 real quick. So Acts 12 and 4, and it reads, this is dealing with, Yahweh Shai, all right? So let's go ahead and go here. Acts 12 in verse 3. And it says, and because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded forward to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. And he had apprehended him. He put him in prison and delivered him to the 4 quaternions of the soldiers to keep him intending. Slakia, this is not talking about Yahushua, Slakia. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to the 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him intending after Easter to bring him forward to the people. Okay. This is talking about when Peter, James, during the time of when Paul received his knowledge, all right? They were all being apprehended and whatnot. Okay. So with that said, let's go ahead and go to not the Compact Bible Dictionary, the Concordance, right? So Easter, the Pascha, the Paschal sacrifice was constant to be offered for people's deliverance of old form Egypt. So let's skip down. The Paschal supper, the Paschal feast, the feast of the Passover, extending from the 14th to the 20th day of the month Nisan. All right. The Passover, the meal, the day, the festival, or the special sacrifice connected with it. So that's what the Passover, that's what Easter's talking about. It's talking about the Passover. All right. Of a particular time, all right, when the apostles were being persecuted. Okay. So, with that said, you know what I'm saying? Easter, and just to edify this point, that was just that word Easter, because you got to understand when you deal with King James, him being a Christian at that time, being in Christianity, of course, they put that word in there because they were practicing the same thing that the Council of Nicaea established with the Christian church, right? So you got to understand that's why that word is there when the word is supposed to be Passover, okay? Pascha or Passover, okay? So, that's the brief history on Easter and its paganistic origins, and the understanding what Easter, with the word Easter, or the actual word that's right there for Easter in the Bible, is in the concordance in the actual Greek lexicon, okay? So with that said, hopefully you brothers and sisters was edified on this. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemel Shai, right? It's Rayabya from God, Seattle Zealot. Shalom to the priests, prophets, and elders in this truth, and brothers and sisters in this truth. That said, till next time, shalom.